So I was really nervous about what I was going to wear today. I don't know about y'all, but 2020 and working from home and sweatpants just really destroyed whatever little fashion sense I had to begin with. And I was nervous because I'm here to talk about, what I do and what I love. It's brand responsibility. It's what I work in. And it's all about making intentional, ethical choices. So I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to wear. And I'm like, okay, it needs to be something that's like really, really environmentally innovative, or something from an amazing, diverse-owned brand, or with some awe-inspiring charitable endgame. And as I'm starting to put brands into different buckets, I realize I'm doing that thing again, right? The human mind is predispositioned to separate things into groups so that we can figure out how to deal with them. Success, first click. So if you pair that basic human instinct and apply it to running a business in this evolving model of stakeholder capitalism, where the pressing issues of the public are rightly the pressing issues of a business, then it's easy to see how, in a role like mine, you can start to bucket your impact work as well, right? Climate change, team A, let's get after it, right? Diversity and inclusion, people team, how can we make this better? And even when you're having these conversations, not with a wider audience, but in your boardrooms, the conversation becomes ESG, environmental social governance. Our senior leaders and our investors want to know what we're doing across each of these different verticals, singular, vertical, singular. So I'm thinking about what to wear, and I spot my favorite pair of trainers. Now these trainers are my favorite, not just because of the leopard print, but because of what they represent in the world of brand responsibility. They're the first partnership I initiated in my organization. And they come in the form of the humble but mighty staff uniform shoe. You see, this brand built their business whilst working in our spaces. That makes them relevant to who we are, which is a key part to any meaningful ESG partnership. Their owners come from an ethnically diverse background, which gives us an opportunity to progress our supplier diversity commitments. They're made out of recycled ocean plastic, and subsequently each pair purchased funds the removal of more plastic from our oceans. That's environmental impact, tick. They've got zero animal glue, so they're 100% vegan and cruelty-free, which speaks directly to our animal welfare values. And they're handmade in Portugal, so procuring them for our teams in the UK and Europe reduces our carbon footprint, as opposed to a shoe that we would get produced from further afield. Also, I can see how as they grow their team, they're hiring more and more people from underserved neighborhoods in our community, upskilling them in things like e-commerce and entrepreneurship. That's building community equity. So I'm realizing all these things about this brand, and I'm jumping up and down in front of our procurement director, Peter, like this one initiative feeds so much of what we're trying to do. And a light bulb went off for me. What if we approached all of our impact initiatives this way? You see, impact isn't vertical. The environment is a serious issue for people, especially across the lower side of the socioeconomic spectrum. And society, we people, are a serious issue for the environment, especially on the higher end of that scale. And this isn't news, right? Think tanks and activists and nonprofits can discuss this at length. But in my world of well-meaning, passionate business operators responding to these new KPIs, it only seems natural that we'd approach impact like we've been trained to do with everything else. Break it down, box it out, action, action, action. So here's my pitch to rethinking how we do this. Let's interweave our impact. Interweaving your impact is thinking of the work as inextricably interlinked. That the success of each initiative is based on it meaningfully engaging with a multitude of your brand's most pressing and material focus areas. Interweaving your impact will speed your progress on your goals and their metrics, will help your brand establish purpose and avoid the pitfalls of horrendous things like greenwashing, right? And facilitate ripple. I'll demonstrate this with a project that I'm working on at the moment. In 2021, we committed to offsetting a portion of our company's carbon emissions. Brands usually do this through buying carbon credits from third parties that say, with this money, you have conserved or reforested or invested in enough renewable energy technology to make up for the X amount of carbon emissions your business has generated. They'll send you photos of trees in a really faraway place that you've probably never heard of. They will promise you that they have not also sold those trees to 3 or 4 other companies who need to offset their carbon. And at the end, you'll get a certificate that says, congrats, you're carbon neutral now. So I'm listening to all of these pitches, and I can't help but agree with a friend who told me that this area of sustainability feels a bit like a used car sales market. And through all of the seemingly credible and some less credible pitches, I heard one that actually really stood out to me. What if we planted our own trees and had the carbon sequestration verified from that? We had a little bit of land, so that was a really good start for us, though I can see how brands could partner with the cities and the places that they're operating in to build urban canopies for underprivileged areas, deprived areas struggling with air quality. But we had some land, so again, relevant to us, really important. I found a cool landscape artist who was part of our customer base already and certified for our supplier diversity program. We calculated that to offset the amount of carbon we needed to make up for, with the amount of space we had available, we'd need to plant a Miyawaki-style forest. That's 4,000 trees and shrubs, dense and layered, so not planted in a straight line, right? But the way that nature intended. This would replicate and restore the natural biodiversity removed from the area and build wildlife corridors for the birds and the bugs, and since we're in the UK, also the foxes. We're sharing our plans with local plant nurseries to help procure the right species for the plot we'll be working in, and also, as part of the local community, taking their lead on how ecologically we can make the project that much stronger for the area. And because 4,000 trees is a lot of trees, we'll need to get some physical resource to help make it happen. Any good ESG program values team well-being and team volunteerism. So we're setting up give days that'll enlist the help we'll need to plant it all, give our teams the chance to be out in nature, and also help them be actively involved with our impact work. Lastly, we wanted to make this initiative something that lived beyond just the planting days. So we're designing it with a path cut through and a clearing in the center. This will fit the need of our business model as we continue to try and create memorable guest experiences, because in that clearing, we can do things like, and this is a new one for me, tree baths, where you can bathe in the energy of the trees, right? Sounds wonderful. Or we can host educational conversations about things like natural biodiversity or carbon offsetting in an area that's actually achieving that at that exact moment. We can expand our impact across all of these touch points while still fulfilling our original commitment to offset our carbon. In interweaving our impact, we aren't actually taking any longer to sequester carbon than the trees in any other part of the world would have done. But by dedicating a bit more connectivity to our planet, we move the needle on 6 or 7 initiatives versus the original 1 or 2. Interweaving your impact requires thoughtful, collaborative planning. It's an exercise in intentionality. And by working with peers and experts to make each opportunity for impact reach its full potential, we're adding layers, depth, and purpose. Finally, interweaving our impact facilitates the ripple effect. By including a larger array of people with diverse interests and expertise, we can cross-pollinate ideas that'll influence the way each of these apply sustainability, environment, society, governance to their work in everyday lives. Interweaving your impact is working smarter, not harder. It's retraining your brain and brand to think of impact as interlinked and circular. And ultimately, it enriches the parts of us that are in this job because we really want to do the right thing and make a positive, lasting impact on the world. So, when it comes to brand responsibility, whether you're tackling big ventures like fostering a global mentorship and fellowship platform through your business, or championing ethical waste management in your city, or even working with your teams to pull together a pop-up food bank when times get tough for the community, remember that building up the things that you and your brand stand for can sometimes be inspired by something as simple as the trainers you're standing in. Thank you.